Welcome, everybody, to Help Me Pivot, where we turn fear into confidence that creates cash. And I'm so excited about today's speaker and expert. And I decided to add her on because of so many of us working from home right now, using different platforms. So I thought it would be a good idea to have a digital marketing specialist on. And there's another amazing thing about her. She just happens to be my daughter. Her name is Nikola. Welcome, Nikola.
Thank
Tell
you.
us a little bit about yourself and your company.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for having me on the show. You've had a lot of incredible speakers, and I've learned so much about this incredible journey that you've been on. And I am so proud of what you have created. So thank you so much for including me in your journey and in this incredible series. And so my name is Nikola Howard, and I own a digital marketing agency that I started 2 years ago. And we specialize in your entire online presence, from your website to your social media, and as well as your email marketing, which is very big, as well as your branding, because all of that comes together. And another really cool thing, and why I really started this agency, is because I love to travel and I get inspired when I'm out on the road. And that's something that, we do in the family. We are global warriors. And so for us, it's very important to be able to have a mobile office and to bring our laptops with us and to get inspired by what we are seeing and being in the present moments.
Now that's beautiful what you just said. We are global warriors, and being a digital marketing specialist, therefore, also allows you to be a digital nomad, right?
Oh, yes. I am a master digital nomad. Yes.
So it really, I think right now, during these uncertain times, right, it's really helpful to be a digital nomad, know your tech stuff, right, and
Yes.
to be able to move around is very, very helpful. And I think, tell me a little bit, we had a conversation about that, and when COVID hit, right, you basically told me, for you nothing really changed in your infrastructure because you were already used to communicate, right, through all the different platforms, right? You already were serving clients, and you didn't need to be on site. So for you, it really didn't change the way you're doing things, right? So there is an advantage to that, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. And exactly. My infrastructure didn't change. I was already developing relationships with people that lived in different time zones. And how we did that was through Zoom, through Skype, and through Google Hangouts and other platforms where I was building that connection with people. And actually we ended up getting more done doing it that way than actually meeting in person. Now, of course, having that in-person interaction and seeing them is fantastic, right? Because you get that energy and you don't have the fun delays that come with using a video platform, because we all know sometimes that with technology, it's really kind of out of our hands, and in the sense of like, oh, well, let's kind of hope and pray that our Wi-Fi connection is working today. So you definitely get to deal with those challenges. But yes, I have been doing this remotely now for 2 years, and that's what I what I love doing.
So I know that you're specializing on how to really truly connect with your customers. And I know right now some people might be struggling with that because they might be used to seeing their customers face to face, or they might be seeing their colleagues face to face. So give us a few tips today how we can really connect with customers, right? And then later on, I also want you to give us some advice which platforms or which formats work particularly well for connecting with customers.
Well, the first thing that you can do, especially if you are in an industry where you can have access to your Facebook, and I'm talking to the entrepreneurs here. And also, too, you don't necessarily have to be an entrepreneur. You can also be working for a corporation, and it is very important to use live video. And now I know what you guys are thinking, like, oh my God, I have to do a live. Like, that's like really nerve wracking. Everything has to be perfect, like XYZ. And it doesn't. All you need to do is just have a phone or go use your laptop, and there is a camera there, and press live and introduce yourself and just say hi. Like, my name's Nikola. My why for being here is I wanted to travel freely. I did not want to have only 2 weeks for a vacation for the entire year. I wanted to create flexibility. And this is why I started my business, so I could have that flexibility and inspire others to actually live their vision and to implement their vision. So again, that took me maybe 3 minutes. So this is something that you guys can do, is do video. Another thing that you can do, if some of you are like, oh, I'm not ready for the live video yet, you guys can start sharing like fun facts about your industry and things that are relevant. And especially like with COVID right now, like, what are things that we can actively do right now that will, increase our lead gen, or like increase that, rapport with people. And so how we do that is just building that authoritativeship, building that authority. What does that mean? It means building that trust. And how you build that trust with people is by sharing what's going on, like in your life with your company, why you started it, and how your services or your products can solve your clients' problems. And so, some trends that we are seeing more than ever, because we haven't been able to physically go into stores because of COVID, that there is a huge increase in online shopping, more than ever. And so Amazon has obviously been around for many years, and they're very big. And now people are starting to order online for the first time. And so some ways that we can start thinking about is, okay, let's look at my website, like what's going on here. So do I have the bandwidth for people to come to my website? Do I have all the information provided for my audience? So these are things to think about when you're creating like your online presence. And so to come back to your question, again, this is another thing that you can do to build that rapport with your client during COVID. And well, let's just say that really this being able to work remotely, telecommuting, really has shown everybody that we don't need to be in a physical office anymore.
So what I heard you say, right? Number one, build the trust with
Yeah.
your customers. So build relationships, interact with them. And obviously, Facebook Live is a way. I can tell you some of the people that I know will be very resistant to Facebook Lives. And there
Yeah.
are other platforms, of course. What else can people do to build connection online with their customers or maybe somebody that they want to reach? So we talked about, now we have some trust. We know what problem we want to solve. We already know which business we want to develop. So what are some other really good methods to connecting closely while we are actually not physically with our customers?
Yeah, so like I was telling earlier with the Facebook Lives, and also LinkedIn has a live feature now as well. And for the people that, like what you were mentioning, you have some people around you, and I do too, who are not the biggest fan of doing live videos. So another way that you can connect with your audience and get incredible intel is actually doing a poll.
Ah,
And so just doing a question and saying, like, just something simple like, how are you networking now during quarantine? And you can write that on your business page and on your company page, business page, and your personal page as well. And you will be surprised on how many people will respond back. And that is very important because you're getting on the spot feedback from your tribe. So that's another way with polls. Also, you can, so if you have a product, you can actually take a series of photos and show your tribe the features of the product. So you can take pictures and you can say, like, for example, like, okay, so here's the backpack I have. It comes in different colors, and you can like show you inside of it, the look and the feel. And you can do this simply with pictures, and you can actually do a pre-recorded video of the actual product. And with your services, so you can do the same concept with your service, and you can actually have testimonials. And again, this is
yes.
another way that you can connect with your audience, is showing them previous work that you have done with clients, and getting them to share, saying, you know what, I was watching you on your live the other day, and or I saw your post about your services, and it really landed with me. And boom, that's another way that you're building that rapport. You also can do direct messaging, and you can personalize it and say, hey, I noticed that you've been in my group, or you've been on my page for a while, and you're liking, and how can I support you today? So another great tool that you can do. So there's many different ways, that you can connect with your clients instead of going on a video and connecting with them in person. So asking questions, like I said, the poll, doing a video of your products, and getting a testimonial from your current clients. Again, this is all supporting you in the big picture, which is building trust and being an authoritative leader with your audience.
So those are some amazing examples on how to connect. So tell me, is there a certain industry that works for, or are there certain industries that work better with specific platforms, right? Because you mentioned LinkedIn, you mentioned Facebook. So what you just described, is this for just one specific industry, or does that work for various different companies?
Yeah, so great question. So a lot of entrepreneurs, they come to me and they're like, "Oh my God, I want to be on everything. I want to be on LinkedIn. I want to be on Instagram. I want to be on Facebook. I heard this TikTok thing is really cool. Like, I want to be on it all, like everything." And I'm like, okay, take a deep breath. Let's slow down. Exactly. And let's focus on one medium. So on one platform. So we pick a platform that your target audience goes to. So once you have defined your target audience, which is a living, breathing thing because we're all learning about each other, we're all growing. And of course, your audience, does stay the same and as far as like age goes or gender, but your hobbies and your demographics and going into that, your behaviors, was the word I was looking for. I was like, oh, there's another word up there, behaviors. And when you learn more about them, that's when you can start building your audience. So if your audience is on Facebook, then yes, focus on Facebook and let's get that strategy ready. And then once that platform is self-efficient, like you have the strategy in place, you have a team who's taking care of all of the comments, and you're getting engagement meaning comments, likes, shares, then you ask yourself and you go back to your target audience that you created with your team and you say, okay, so where else is my audience? Oh, okay, they're on LinkedIn. Okay, so now let's create a strategy for LinkedIn. Because the biggest misconception that people have is that you post the same content. And when I say the content, I mean actual copy and images and videos on every single platform. So it goes across the board. So you do that for Facebook and then you would do that for LinkedIn. And that is a no-no. Absolutely not. You do not want to post the same thing on both platforms because, again, each platform has a different end goal. And so that's something that you get to consider. So start with one platform, master it, and then you can go on to other things. So again, just because you're going to overwhelm yourself and you're going to spread yourself thin and you're not going to get the results that you want to get.
So that is very helpful. So find out where your customers are hanging out, right?
Exactly. Yep, exactly.
Focus on that one platform. And then if you see them that they're in other places, go figure that one out, but don't necessarily use the same approach. So you mentioned strategy. How important is it to have a marketing strategy?
How important is it to have a morning routine? It's very, very important. You having a strategy and which is your foundation, it's your outline, it's your plan. And so a strategy is figuring out, okay, so what are the goals that I want to create? And having those goals actually feed into your main goal, because look at it as like little buckets. So each bucket is your online presence. So you have like your email bucket here, and then you have your social media, which is, your Facebook, Instagram, etc. And then you have your website. So these three have separate strategies. However, they're all going down and funneling to the same end result. So knowing this and seeing the big picture is extremely important when creating your strategy. And that's what I love doing. I love it showing my clients the big picture and saying, okay, so we're going to have these strategies that are going to support our end goal, which is increasing revenue on, in general. So we're going to increase our revenue on our online and in our stores. How do we do this? Okay, well then we go back to our buckets and then we create it. So having a strategy, having goals in place, and having each post, making sure each post is supporting your end goal. So, and I'm sure you guys can already tell that I'm very much an analyzer, and that's what I love to do. I love data. I love metrics, and all of that supports the creative, which is the fun stuff, the videos, the images, and and that's when we go into like branding, which is a whole nother ball game. But again, with branding, it's the big picture. And so
So I think I'm going to have you back on for branding. I think we're going to do a couple of more of these and maybe serve our audience with some more advice, because I got this question quite a bit. Now people are at home, and how do we go about all these different platforms? How do we deal with all these tech issues? So definitely, we're definitely going to bring you back to give some more advice.
Thank you so much.
So for now, for this series right now, turning fear into confidence that creates cash, I have one last question for you.
Yes.
That I ask all of my speakers. So what message would the 80-year-old Nikola have for her present self?
Oh my God. Wow. Well, I hope when I'm 80, I'm looking fabulous and hanging out on the beach in my beautiful home. I would tell my 80-year-old self would tell me, young me now, I would tell her to be in the present moment and to take every opportunity that you are presented with, and just go with it. Try not to stress on how it's going to look, because you'll figure out the how as you go along, because the how is important, and to just go with the flow, which I know is very difficult. So just go with that opportunity that's being presented.
So that is beautiful. So where can people find you that are struggling with digital marketing, social media, all that posting, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, whatever? So obviously you've been helping me quite a bit. So how can people find you?
Yes, so I am on Facebook, Nikola Marketing Services. And I also I have a website that is coming out, and the address is nicolasocial.com. You can also contact me via email at Nikola Marketing Services, all one word, at gmail.com.
And don't you also, you have a Facebook group, a free Facebook group?
Yes. So I have a Facebook group as well. It's called Body, the number 2 Business. So it's a play on words, B2B. So Body to Business.
Bodytobusiness.com, or is it just Body to Business?
It's just Body to the number 2 Business, which is the Facebook group. Yes, and in the Facebook group, I share a lot of how-to tips to improve your online presence, and we do have special speakers that come in as well and talk about how their techniques can support you in your online business.
So, and most of our speakers have a free gift. Have you thought of what you're going to offer our audience? Maybe a free 30-minute call, or what is it that you're offering today?
Yes. So I actually am going to be offering a 30-minute consultation call with you guys. And and the purpose of this call is to really figure out like where you are struggling with your online presence, whether, it be we need to put in a strategy for your Facebook, or we need to put in a strategy to get your website finally live, or your branding. And so that will be the purpose of your call, is to really figure out where you need support in. And then we can go to the next step and figure out how that looks and see how we're working together.
Thank you for that information. And yes, definitely, I want to hear more about branding. And I know we can dive a lot deeper. So we'll see if we can schedule another session. So for now, unfortunately, our time is up. And I want to thank you for being part of this series and for giving us some awesome tips on how to deal with digital marketing, how to deal with social media, and getting used to the new world, right? Nothing's ever going to look the same again, right? So
This is true. Yes. So now we get to take that fear that we have with this uncertainty, and take that fear and find that confidence that whatever that task is that makes you feel empowered, do that and then share it, because there is always someone that needs to hear your message.
All right. Thank you for those wise words, Nikola.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.